Okay, all right.
You got the brown mega chair. I
got the brown mega chair.
gotta beat up.
Yeah, yeah. We just watched 7 episodes of The Strongest Exorcist Gets Reincarnated in Another World. Something like that.
Yes, the dialogue is terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we didn't like about it. Let's just start. I'll start off by saying I don't know if my friend here. I don't know if Total Major agrees with me here, but if you enjoyed this anime, that's great for you. Like, I don't understand you, but I'm happy for you. And it's not all bad. I don't think we had any complaints about the art style. I think they used 3D models at some point, which was weird.
Yeah, the giant snake being
It's like 60 frames per second, but all the other ones, everyone else's animation was like 16. That was weird.
That was goofy.
But I mean, it wasn't. A lot of people put time and effort in animating it, and it didn't look terrible.
It didn't look bad.
Okay, we got that out of the way. So those are our positives. I think we get an opening.
The opening of the guy like getting isekai'd pretty much.
Yeah, he looks like he's in feudal Japan. It was interesting because it seemed like he isekai'd himself with magic.
It looked like he did it.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna try again in another world.
I'm gonna hit the reset button.
Yeah, it was funny because you don't usually see that. I guess we should say. I'll say the basic plot of this is that this really strong exorcist gets isekai'd into another world where he can use his magic and he does things and stuff. And we're gonna get into spoilers from here on out.
Not much to spoil.
Okay, so he's like in feudal Japan and he isekais himself because he's about to die. And then he's like classic isekai trope. He's the son of a noble or something. The bastard son of a noble.
The bastard son.
I feel like not really much happens
Not much happens. Like, she helps the slave girl.
Yeah, he helps the slave girl not get raped by his brother, and then a giant creature comes and attacks.
Giant salamander creature.
Attacks the mansion.
Which he planned.
Which was interesting. I think we both agreed was kind of interesting. Like, it's revealed later that he orchestrated this like giant salamander thing to come attack the mansion, so he could kill it and look like the cool guy, which will let his father send him to the Magic Academy. Thought that was interesting. Thought that was like cool. Like, we immediately there, because what's also revealed is that salamander thing. It went to the city beforehand, and it seems like it did some damage there. Maybe killed some people. Even
we just don't know.
We don't know, but it seemed like
the salamander just destroyed the city.
Like some of the city, and the main character was like, he didn't give it, and we're like, oh, this is interesting. This guy just doesn't give a.
This guy seemed like he would just do anything
for power.
Anything for power.
And we're like, okay, that's an interesting character. So he teaches like that slave girl, he saves magic, and then he and her get sent to the academy. And I like the dynamic that he had with that brother, like the brother being the villain, but they kind of dropped him after that.
After they had like the brothers fight each other, they just dropped it.
It was so weird too, because the brother's like, I challenge you to a duel. And their dad's like, all right, you guys can duel. But then the night before the duel, he goes to fight his brother. And he's like, the duels are for sissies? But he's like the one who challenged him to a duel?
and he just gets his butt whooped.
Instantly, of course.
Instantly.
The brother had so much hubris too, because he saw his brother, like he knows his brother one-shot a powerful creature. Whatever. And I would have liked if the brother stuck around as like some sort of rival, but he's just gone.
The brother never comes back.
As far as we know. Maybe he comes back later. Couldn't stomach anything more.
We stopped at episode 7.
So he goes to the academy with the slave. And what's really interesting is that the magic he uses is like this exorcist magic. I've seen similar looking stuff in other anime with those little paper cutout things.
He uses paper cutouts and uses that as his magic.
Yeah, nobody else here uses that magic, which I think we thought was pretty interesting.
It was interesting at first.
Because he's using this magic no one else has. But the thing is, people just go, every now and then someone will say, you're using magic no one else has. And that's the extent of everything.
They don't go into further detail.
That'd be super cool if, like, 2 things you could do with that is you have some group of people that are really interested in the fact he's using otherworldly magic, right? That'd be cool. Or if his magic interacted with the other magic, like everyone's trying to figure out how those interact, that'd be interesting. But none of that happens.
My favorite part is when he puts the cursed blood on himself.
Yeah, there's this whole plot. Oh,
That made no sense.
okay, we're getting a little ahead of our.
We're getting a little ahead here.
He goes and he does the. Of course, he does. They do the entrance exam for the school. They do the written exam, and then they do the practical, which you've seen 100 times if you watch seasonal anime, where he blows up the goddamn sign.
He just. Oh, humongous magic, go.
Oh, humongous magic. Oh, wow, they're so powerful.
So powerful. No, nothing happens. He's strong.
Yeah, and he gets in. It's really interesting because they did the other thing you've probably seen 100 times where they do the what's my magic power crystal, and he doesn't have any because his magic's otherworldly, right? And his maid has a little bit of magic too. And then they do really well, but then it doesn't seem like they ever get questioned on that. Like you'd think a teacher would be like this happens in anime too, where like you think someone would be like, "How are you doing that?" But no one ever asks.
Like the teacher was standing there, was like, "How?"
He just said, "How is this possible?" And then that is it.
That's it.
Like, okay. So then they get into the school. And I kind of blank on what happens after that. Like I don't know.
They talk for like a long time.
They talk a lot.
And there's just a random demon attack.
That's right. Like they get in and then demons attack.
And there's another demon with a magical circle.
Yeah, there's and it's so weird. Cause he's walking through the school to like this place. He's like, "Oh, I sense magic," and he finds this magic circle in the forest on the school campus. And he's like, "Yep, that's a magic circle written in the sand." And then he just leaves. And I'm thinking to myself, you're not gonna erase that? Like he's just gonna leave
all he does is put some magic, his old paper.
And he said something I think he said something like he thought it belonged to the school, which was weird. And then later it turns out that's actually a demon's, and he's using it to summon other demons to attack the school.
Yeah, the demon summons more demons to attack the school to get cursed blood on the one redhead girl.
I guess that was the overall plan.
The whole plan is to get cursed demon blood on the redhead girl.
There's a redhead girl who's the strongest person at the school, who they think is the hero. And I don't know if you know about the tropes in a lot of these isekai animes, but there's usually a hero who has to fight the demon king. And she looks like she's the hero prophesied. So I guess the whole point of the demon attack, it turns out later, was to actually that we needed to get her covered in demon blood so that we could cast a curse on her. I think.
That's what it seemed like.
That's what it seemed like. Even though there's jars of demon blood laying around.
The guy had the jar of demon blood, and he was like, "Oops!" And of course he misses the main character.
Well. Yeah,
of course we don't know.
I still don't know if that was on accident or not. You know, it's like
there at one point the main character and the blonde girl. I don't even remember their damn names.
Of course, yeah.
Like the guy spills the
demon blood. It's we don't know. It's like a potion or something.
We don't know it's a demon blood at that current moment.
I think because he says something like it's a mixture of demon blood and ores and something.
Some kind of curse.
But you don't really give a shit that he spilled this bullshit because it's not plot relevant at the time. It's just random. Another important thing that happens during that demon attack is that, of course, we find out Red's really strong and she kills all the demons. A few things I want to say about the demon fight. They were called lesser demons, and these things look like Giga Chad demons.
They're all muscular and huge.
Like 12-foot tall goat guys, the lesser demons.
Also, the goblins are...
The goblins, that happens later where they're we see the goblins, and they're 8-foot chads.
Tall goblins.
Just shredded. Oh my god. And then another thing is that he fights the head demon that's summoning other demons, and he dies. But he comes back to life. So we find out he's basically immortal.
He just can't take damage.
Which is he can take damage, but then he just, I'm not dead anymore.
I'm not dead, actually.
And it's where are the stakes? Not only is he really powerful, but he just can't die. What is his whole point?
That's another thing. He has zero motivation.
We don't know what
We
he's
don't know what his
motivated to do.
motivation
What is
is.
he trying to do? It seems like he wants to be powerful and be surrounded by powerful people, but it's like, do you even need anyone by your side? You're so OP. Anyway, that happens. And there was another weird thing during that fight where he's like standing on a sword.
Oh yeah,
And we couldn't tell what was happening.
like the sword is like huge. He's like on the top of the sword, and the demon guy looks ridiculously small.
Like I couldn't tell if
was he small? Was he big?
It was the perspective was so hard because he's like standing on this sword, which we saw the swords before. They didn't look that
They
big.
didn't even look that big.
So was he smaller, or yeah, I don't know what happened there. Was that a bigger sword and the demon guy was smaller, or was
the perspective was very weird.
And then anyway, he fights that demon, kills him. And we were one thing we did think was interesting was that the blonde chick did seem fairly powerful. Though we never eventually the 7 episodes we saw, we didn't really even see her fight anything.
She protects herself one time, and that's
which we
it.
thought was cool.
She actually defended herself.
Yeah, it was like, oh, the monster's coming, it's gonna eat her, and then she fireballs it or some shit, and it leaves her, and then she gets to run away, which we thought was like, oh, she can save herself there, but
she doesn't do anything after that.
after that, she like blows up a target, and I think that's all she does.
That's all she's done.
Yeah. Okay, so the demon attack happens. I think that's all I have to say about that. And then he's like, okay, now I gotta go be friends with this red-haired chick because she's powerful.
Yeah, he's like, I must be friends with this red-haired chick because she's strong.
Remember, when the first time he saw her, he also mentioned something about her being...
Yeah, her being like this reincarnation of this person he used to know.
It's like, but
They
again, never brought up.
Never brought up ever again.
Chronic thing with the show: bring up something cool and interesting, never talk about it again. I don't know if how you felt about it. Like, I definitely didn't want to watch more after episode 7.
No, I don't.
But it kind of felt like the show was flying by because they would bring up, like, there was never any, like, every single fight and every single, like, what would you say, problem was so easily solved.
Instantly solved.
Perfect. I'm skipping ahead. There's that part where they're during the tournament arc, and randomly he just confronts a green-haired guy.
Yeah, a green-haired guy was like spying on all the people in the tournament, and there was nothing about this.
We never heard about this. First time we're hearing this.
He just walks up to this green-haired guy and be like, "Hey, you're spying on people."
And it's like,
what?
because there was a little bit of mystery about like why they sent specific people to go, and he basically gets all the information from this guy that we were seeing for the because he said, "How did you know I was a spy?" "Oh, because I saw you talking to that guy." But we never saw that scene.
They just go like, here's a little flashback. You didn't even show us the scene in the first place.
But there was a cool moment there where he summoned out that really cool monster.
He summons like a cool monster and it reads his mind, and then it just eats him.
It was like reading his mind while it was eating him, like, "Oh, it hurts, oh, please don't eat me." That was pretty cool.
That was a cool moment.
One of the only good things about the show was that.
I also liked it when he like teleported behind the guy and just force blasted him out of the arena.
The one thing, but before we talk more about the tournament arc, there was that one between the tournament arc and that school attack. He tries to get closer to the red-haired chick, right? And they find a random.
They just walk on top of a random teleporting circle.
He just goes, "I sense magic," and he goes up to a tree stump and it has a magic circle on it, which teleports them into a dungeon that is beneath them. It's like, oh, there's a dungeon there,
and that's where the Giga Goblins.
That's where the Giga Goblins were, and then they're going through the dungeon. They beat the crap out of some stuff. He's like, "Oh, you have a curse on you or something." I didn't even really understand what was bothering her. I think what happened was he put up a barrier, and she's like, "Oh, I feel better now." But I didn't really even understand what was happening to her.
The guy was like, "Oh, this barrier, it helps with curses." And the girl was like, "Do I have a curse on me? Please check."
Think she had to like take her clothes off. That was an anime moment.
Definitely anime moment.
And then they're like and they're beating the shit out of all these goblins and everything.
No effort.
And then they get to the boss door, which is like a snake guy, and they're like, she's like, we shouldn't fight it. It's too hard. And then he's like, no, let's do it. We can do it together.
We can do it together. 2 seconds later.
2 seconds later, they beat the shit out of the thing
Dead.
easily, and you were screaming like, I thought it was gonna be hard. What happened? Oh. Okay, and then they leave through. They leave out of like it shows them leaving, and they're like pushing up on like this hatch that's like grass, and they get out through there. And then it's showing them talking to like the officials, and they're like, apparently nobody knew there was a dungeon underneath the floor. And then they never talk about that.
Yeah, there's apparently a dungeon underneath this temple. They never bring it up.
Never talk about that ever. Isn't that really crazy that there's somehow like a fucking magical dungeon underneath this temple and no one knows about it? Isn't that crazy? Let's not talk about that. Why? This is like, that's so interesting and cool, and I want to know more, but it's like, let's go to the tournament arc.
This is a very interesting thing to bring up. Anyway, tournament arc.
So then they're like, randomly they're like, oh, we're second years now.
Yeah, there's just a time skip.
Like they're like at the cafeteria, and they're like, I can't believe we're sophomores now.
They're just talking to each other.
Why did they do a time skip? I don't know. They're older now.
We're also forgetting that sword fight between the 2 red-haired girls.
Well, that's where because first they meet the red-haired girl, and then which is like they introduce another character who has short red hair.
There's 2 short-haired red-haired girls, and we're getting confused. Who is who?
Oh my god!
It's so confusing because they look so similar.
And there was another short red-haired girl with short red hair in the beginning who was like the teacher of the first red-haired girl that we meet. That's in there.
I was literally going insane.
The second red-haired girl challenges the first to a duel and says, I think she says, let's not use magic.
Listen, let's have a sword fight, not use magic. She instantly uses magic.
Like, I guess she was trying to be subtle because it kind of seemed like maybe no one would notice, but they instantly noticed that she's using magic, and they're like, hey, you used magic, that's cheating, and she's like, whatever.
And also the sword fight made no sense.
It made no sense. There was like a mover, like
she goes for a stab, she blocks it, and
like
overhead. You can literally see her going for an overhead attack,
and then it just blocks into them.
And instant cut to block. That's not how. That fight was weird.
Yeah, and then okay, then it's revealed that the main character and the second redhead are gonna go fight in the tournament, and it's like, why are these 2 going to this tournament? It's kind of like a prestige thing. There's a reward, but they're not sent like the first red-haired girl. She's like the best fighter at the whole school, and they're like, why aren't they sending her? And she says something like, she's like, why aren't they sending me? And the main character's like, well, do you want to go? She's like, no, not really. And he's like, okay, why do you? Who cares? So they send the main character and the second red-haired girl, who's pretty strong on her own right, but she's not the strongest, it seems. And then they're going there. And this was another connection I had.
And all the characters are in the same carriage going there.
And he literally says, why are you guys coming? Okay, the blonde chick says, I'm coming because I'm your servant. That's true.
That makes sense.
Why is that first red-haired girl coming? She says something like, because I want to. And that is another thing this show does. The character will just say, because I want to.
Because I want to.
That is not an explanation. Obviously, what you wanted to because you did it. I'm asking why.
Why?
If your answer is, I just wanted to. Oh.
The characters have no motivation.
Like they're it feels like the motivation will randomly change, right? Our main character, for the course of this tournament arc, it kind of seems like he becomes like, at first we're like, oh, this is a cold bastard. I kind of like this.
He's obviously just using these people.
Right, that's what it feels like. But then he starts to get like,
he instantly changes to good.
Now he really cares about.
He actually cares.
Listen, I like character progression. if you wanna show me him slowly changing, but it's just like suddenly he cares about this second red haired girl, and why I don't know. It just says he just says because I should.
Because I want to.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
So the fights in the tournament. So we get to the tournament. I'm super pissed at the second red haired girl up there constant because she has literally no motivation.
There is no reason why.
Why would she
there.
want? She literally said, "I don't even want to go."
I don't want to go.
I go.
Then now I want to go.
Oh. Okay, so the fights in the tournament. The first fight we thought was pretty cool. Was fun because this guy comes out and he just like slaps God of him and throws him into a wall in a way
He
that
just
was
instantly teleports behind him and just pushes.
which
him.
was really we thought
It was
that
like,
was
oh,
fun.
that was
It
cool.
like whoa, oh my god! But then that's like every fight.
That's like every fight.
Every fight is someone blowing another person out of the water. There was a few of those that were cool. Like a guy walks out, he just makes the mage stand there motionless, and then he just stabs him in the throat and kills him.
Fucking-
It's like, oh, that guy just died.
And all the other people that have to fight him just forfeit because like we don't want to.
I don't want to get stabbed to death. So that guy's first fight was our main character's first fight is him being the shadow someone. And then before we see the red-haired girl who's in the tournament, he goes again. I don't know how this tournament is structured. Normally,
Like,
everyone gets the
we
first
see
round.
the main character fight like 2 times
Before
even the red hair girl shows up.
before she does her first. It's okay.
Okay.
I don't know how this is structured. That doesn't seem right. And then his second fight is against a lady who has a golem, who's got like a stone golem, and he quick before anyone can see, he quickly summons like a wind demon or something to like break it apart into pieces. And it was like, oh, okay, another easy win. Great, whatever. But then he said something like, I had to do it really subtly because summoning is banned in this tournament.
Yeah,
which was instantly retarded because why can't he summon stuff if people can use golems?
People can use golems. There was one lady that had like undead dogs.
Yeah, she has like which is cool. But why is summoning banned? But I can use necromancy and golems.
Okay.
Okay. Redhead has her first fight, and we're like, okay, let's hope this is an actual fight. And it was like probably the longest fight in the whole thing.
That was the longest fight.
But it was still pretty
It was
bad.
still bad.
Okay, it's because the guy goes rock. The mage goes rock blast.
Rock,
He just
rock.
kept using rock blast, and it was.
Then he summons rock
which
balls.
was mid tier magic. There's like low tier, mid tier, and greater tier, and he used rock blast, which is mid tier earth magic. The mid tier fire spell we saw was like a fucking giga nuke tornado.
It was like a fire tornado.
and then I throw one rock.
I
at
throw
you.
one rock.
Oh my god.
What?
And then his greater earth magic is making a single wall, which you could just walk around. and which I guess worked because she wasn't walking around.
She doesn't even walk around it.
She was like throwing knives at these walls he was making, which were destroying them, but like just walk around and throw a knife at him.
That was a really dumb fight.
That one hurt.
And she uses like 2 swords and a giant sword.
She has
as
a
well.
giant sword, which she doesn't even use in the
She
fight.
uses like it one time.
Maybe, yeah, and then she has her 2 rapiers, and then she had a bunch of knives. We're like, yeah, that's how you should come to a tournament. But then she just ends up using a throwing knife. Like, go stab a guy, walk around the wall, and stab him.
You know what's funny? When she fights the main character, she doesn't even bring the 2 swords or the massive
She
sword.
brings one giant axe.
One giant axe.
Why? Why? You were so prepared that
You
fight.
were prepared out of the ass out of that one fight. You fight the main character. You bring one weapon and throwing knives. What?
Why? Oh my god. So stuff happens, and then the main character, and she keeps confronting him like, hey, you need to forfeit
You
the
need
match.
to forfeit right now.
You need to forfeit the match against me. And he's like, why?
Why?
And she basically is like, she's giving this excuse like, I don't want to kill you in the fight. Sure. I still don't know if that was the reason or if she just wanted to get past him. But, so then he refused to forfeit. So the night before their match, he's sleeping in his bed. And she attacks him in his sleep.
He notices her like on the roof of his owl.
Yeah, with his owl or some shit.
And she just busts through the ceiling. And it's like, oh hi.
And then they fight a little,
They,
and
like-
then she leaves, and then he finds her, and he's like, "Talk to me."
He just follows her. He's like, hey, want to talk? And dude, she just tried to kill you.
You know, like, how are you so calm? And then he has this conversation. She gives her sad backstory about how her and her brother were a part of this like group of children that got like the magic put in their brain, and that made them messed up. Or I think
It is-
actually he just got the surgery.
Yeah, I think the brother's the only one that got the surgery.
Which I don't know why they didn't give that to everyone, but they gave it to him, and then he killed two of
Pretty
their
much they're
friends.
just Spartans with magic.
Yeah, right. And now she wants to fight him? She wants to be the one to fight him.
She wants to kill him. Well,
So it was so weird because it turns out that she's actually a decoy because we didn't even talk about the how it turns out that whole thing with the cursed blood. I don't even want to go back to it.
It made no sense.
It made no sense. There was a guy in a basement and it was dumb.
It was so dumb.
We don't need. I don't want to get lost in the sauce. But we're currently on this because it turns out that first red-haired girl is actually the hero, right? So this second red-haired girl, some sort of group is using her as like they're trying to trade for her.
There's some group using her as a decoy hero.
Like, no, she's the real hero, demons. Look at her. Guess what their master plan is, guys? Guess what it is? You can't guess because it's stupid.
It's so f***ing stupid.
It's like, guess what? Oh, let me double check it's recording. I got nervous for a second. It's okay. We're good. I was like, I would be so mad. Okay. Guess what the master plan is? It's fucking. We're gonna make her look like the hero, and then she's gonna fight this other guy, and that guy's gonna kill her, and that's the organization's plan.
Is to make the hero look like dies.
It's like, okay, this would work if there was no other hero, right? If you set someone up as the hero and then you kill them so the demons can be chill. But they already think this other girl.
They already think this other girl is the hero.
So if you set up a decoy, a convincing decoy, and then kill her, they're just gonna go back to the other person.
all right, that one was obviously not the hero.
That's what they would do, right? Okay, and then so she's telling the main character all this, and then he says. He's like, so that's why you want to fight your brother to like die or something. She's like, no, I want to kill him. Which is like, but you just said the point is for you to die, so you want to kill him. Okay. Okay. And then they're like, all right, I guess we'll settle it in the tournament. And then they fight, and again,
the main character just wins.
easy blowout fight. There wasn't like a single fight we saw in this whole 7 episodes of the show that was like, man, who's gonna win?
Who's gonna win? We don't know.
No, I don't think. I felt like every fight was under a minute.
Not even a minute. Most of the time.
That's what it felt. Just like, boom, you're dead.
Boom, dead. Boom,
It's
gone.
fine to have overpowered characters, but put them up against something that takes time, not just like one guy gone. Anyway. So then he fights the guy who's her brother who can make people just stand still or whatever, and then he stabs him. And then he like fights him, and then somehow he dies.
Like the guy, the brother fights the main character. The main character puts like a smoke bomb, so
he can use his summoning,
he can use his summoning magic,
which is bullshit, by the way. I don't know why he can't use that again, but he does that. He beats him. And then it seemed like some sort of like spell.
Some kind of curse was on the brother.
Yeah, from like maybe if you failed, he was supposed to die. This is all implied. This is never said. Like, so he starts dying.
And the main character's like, I must resurrect you.
And then like his fucking little spirit that's with him is like, basically says, don't resurrect this random dude. Why would you do that? Which is weird because it's like, this guy's so overpowered he can not die, and he potentially could just bring anyone back from the dead.
Yeah.
Where are the stakes?
What stakes are there?
Okay, so the guy dies, and then he pretends that the body's obliterated, but he actually teleported out there so he could bury it.
He just pretends to obliterate him and just buries him somewhere else.
Which is like,
Why?
I mean, listen, I can see how that could be the case. Maybe that shadow organization would have gotten the body, but they don't even explain that. They don't bother explaining that. It's just like I sent him away, so
There's no internal dialogue. Like I must had to make this look like I incinerated him.
Because if I didn't, this would happen. But it's not explained why if he.
The dialogue in this show is god awful.
This is probably. I mean, the last thing we see is that he goes to this lady who's the head schoolmaster and goes like, "I see what your plan was," and he lays out the whole plan, even though we just saw it.
They literally just go through. Oh yes, I did this thing. We seen you do this thing. You don't have to tell us.
Yes. I think the worst part of the show. I mean, I think we really didn't like the fighting. Was just like any problem, any fight resolved so fast.
It's classic isekai overpowered character.
But and again, a lot of the stuff, it felt like it wasn't even overpowered. He just inexplicably knew things.
It's like, here's this new thing.
I solve it. Okay. The dialogue was terrible though. It just felt like, why are you talking about this right now?
He even mentions this a world war.
He mentions you're prepared for a world war. We're like, there's gonna be a
world war? What?
What is this? And then 2 lines later, he said something about having sex. What the fuck is going on?
We were so confused in that moment. We literally had to pause it.
We were like stuck. Like we had to go back.
We had to go back, check it again.
It's like, yep, they just bring that up out of nowhere.
Then he just mentions his sex for some reason, and okay, what?
Yeah. So we dropped this thing after 7 episodes. We probably would have dropped it sooner, but I don't think there was anything worth seeing past that.
I don't think there is anything else.
Listen, me and my mans here, we've seen a lot of shit, and we get the feeling we know when to cut our losses at this point. There might have been some cool stuff. We did like that spooky monster, but I wouldn't want to watch this show for the little good that we think there's in it.
There's so very little good.
So very little. Any final thoughts? I'd say we definitely don't recommend this.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Oh.